I'm back, good people. I'm your host, Bradford Lassiter, and welcome to another episode of Lassiter Factor's Top 5, the show where I take a random topic and I make a top 5 out of it. And if you watched the last 2 episodes, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching this video, like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Now, let's get into it, because I know I took a little more than a couple of weeks off. But that's because, I had to get some stuff in order, and plus I took a little vacation out to Vegas for my 30th birthday. Thank you. It was beautiful out there, and took a day trip out to LA, saw the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and now I'm back, and took a couple of days off to get my life in order before I get back into my regular schedule, and now I'm back, and so now let's get into these videos again. And for this video, I am counting down my top 5 favorite news or favorite things that happened during the month of April.
Coming in at number 5 is Sony making a deal with Netflix and Disney to release their slate of films on those services. Yes, Sony made a deal with Netflix to release all their films for like a year or so, because Sony doesn't have any plans to come out with their own streaming service, and the streaming wars is getting oversaturated as it is, so I'm glad that they made this kind of deal. But then news broke out that Disney is looking to make a deal with Sony to stream most, if not all, of their movies on their streaming service like Disney Plus and Hulu. Of course, Sony and Disney has had some bad blood between them over the years, but even if that is the case, the Netflix deal is pretty much set in stone, so the Disney deal wouldn't go into effect until after their contract with Netflix ends. But even still, that's a good thing, because at least Sony has a place to go afterwards, so Sony is pretty much set for the next couple of years. Now, this is beneficial to Disney because that means Sony can put all their Spider-Man movies or any of the Marvel films that was under Sony, it can now be put on Disney Plus in the Marvel section for a couple of years. So at least for a brief period of time, Disney would have all the Marvel movies. Well, except the Hulk movies, because that is still under Universal. But with the streaming wars getting competitive, it's still good that Disney is making these kinds of moves, so good for them.
Coming in at number 4 is How I Met Your Father, the spinoff to How I Met Your Mother, which is one of my favorite sitcoms of all time. And if you remember, like way years back, I made a couple of videos about the show How I Met Your Mother and its series finale. I'll leave the link to that in the description. But it is said that the creators of the show How I Met Your Mother is conjuring up a spinoff called How I Met Your Father, and it's going to star Hilary Duff, and it's pretty much going to follow her telling her kids about how she met her father, especially in this day and age. Now look, as much as I love the show How I Met Your Mother, I will be the first to admit that show did some problematic things, particularly in the later seasons, even though I still enjoyed those seasons. But I will still give it a chance. I just hope that whatever the mistakes they made for How I Met Your Mother, I hope they learn from that and improve upon on this show. Like, for example, not take 9 goddamn seasons to introduce the mother. Coming in at number 3 is Mortal Kombat. Now, yes, of course, the Mortal Kombat reboot came out into theaters and on HBO Max, but prior to that, I had never seen any of the Mortal Kombat movies that came out during the 90s. So I watched the original for the first time, watched Annihilation to my detriment, and then I watched the reboot. But I did reviews of all 3 of those. It's on my Instagram. I'll leave the description to that below. But as for the reboot, I actually enjoyed the reboot a lot more than people enjoyed it. And I know some people like the reboot, but hey, like I said, this, from what we saw in the 90s, you have nowhere to go but up. And in my eyes, this reboot is a huge improvement in terms of special effects, and the story could be a little better. It's a huge improvement in terms of special effects, filmmaking. Some of the actors that play the characters are a lot better than the ones in the original films. But it still has some story issues, but it still gave me what I want, which is a bloody good time, good fights, and great action. The character of Cole, I don't know why they made him, but judging from the box office and the success of this film, I don't know if Warner Brothers will move forward with a sequel, but I would like to see a sequel, and so that they can improve. So yeah, Mortal Kombat! Alright, coming in at number 2 is Everything Marvel. Yep, back again with that. So yeah, a lot happened in the month of April for Marvel, and then going into the beginning of May, because by the time I get in this video out, we have well past this news, so I gotta talk about this. But first, let's talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or should I say, Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Yes, we saw the season I think season or series. I don't know if this is a limited series or not, but whatever the case, we saw the season finale, and we get to see Sam Wilson suit up as Captain America with his new suit, courtesy of Wakanda, with the wings and his shield. And we get to see him team up with Bucky, and we see Bucky doing good. I felt like this was a satisfying conclusion to this particular season, though there were some things a little bit questionable about, but overall I still enjoyed it. I feel like they wrapped up story arcs the best way they could, especially in COVID times. I can't wait to see what they do with Anthony Mackie as Captain America. I can't wait to see Bucky's story moving forward. I definitely can't wait to see what they do with John Walker as U.S. Agent and Val, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I'm curious to see where they're going to go with this Sharon Carter as the Power Broker storyline, and I can't wait to see more Zemo. I love this show, and at times a lot more than WandaVision. I'm not saying I didn't love WandaVision, I did. It's just, and I appreciate WandaVision for creatively and abstractly illustrating grief on that show, but to me, this show just hits differently with all the themes that personally pertain to me, especially with Isaiah Bradley as someone that got experimented on with the old Captain America serum, and how he was pretty much erased from history, but then they come back at the end and they actually let the world know what he did, and it was just touching right at my core. But of course, the news that I am talking about that came out technically at the beginning of May, but I decided to put into this video, is the Marvel announcing their Phase 4 movie slate. Of course, we have Black Widow coming out in July, Shang-Chi coming out in September. Speaking of which, I did watch the trailer for Shang-Chi, and it was pretty impressive. Nothing to really get excited about, but I'm still excited to see the film. I just can't wait to see it. It's just, this is a character I know next to nothing about, there's nothing really exciting other than a real Mandarin in the 10 Rings to get excited about. And Awkwafina's pretty funny in the trailer. But of course, we got Eternals. We even got to see a couple of sneak previews of that, and that comes out in November 3rd, 2021, so this year. So we're gonna get to see that pretty soon, and hopefully we'll see a full trailer pretty soon. Spider-Man No Way Home, of course, that comes out in December. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, that comes out March 25th, 2022. Thor: Love and Thunder, May 6th, 2022. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, July 8th, 2022, and of course we got a title reveal for that because of the sudden passing of Chadwick Boseman, so I can only imagine with Ryan Coogler, who is returning to direct this film, and I guess this title does make sense, because it's like, okay, we may have lost T'Challa as Black Panther, and by extension Chadwick Boseman, but Wakanda, that's forever, so I can kind of see where they're going with this. Then we got The Marvels, which is Captain Marvel 2, but I guess it's not just going to be Captain Marvel, it's also going to be Ms. Marvel, which she's getting her own show on Disney Plus really soon. And then we got Monica Rambeau as Photon or Spectre, whatever they're going to call her, but she's going to be part of this trio as well, so we get to see Teyonah Parris returning. She was one of my favorite characters from WandaVision, so yeah. Then we got Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, that comes out February 17th, 2022. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 comes out May 5th, 2023. And then finally, ending off the Phase 4 movies is the Fantastic Four reboot. There's no title or release date for that yet, but it is going to be directed by John Watts, who directed all the Spider-Man Tom Holland movies. So I guess as soon as he's finished with Spider-Man No Way Home, that's when he's going to jump on Fantastic Four. So I'm very excited for that. But I guess everything on here, I am most excited for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And then finally at number 1 is the Oscars, which was a hot mess. Yes, that's right. No, there were some good things that happened during the Oscar, and I will break that down. But for real quick, the Oscars, it was directed by Steven Soderbergh, which he wanted to give it a more of a independent film-like feel to the Oscars, which is admirable. But I understand we're still in COVID times, but good lord, this was one of the most horrible Oscars I've ever seen. That still had its good moments, like Daniel Kaluuya winning Best Actor and making one of the best speeches I've ever heard.
We're enjoying ourselves tonight because we've got to celebrate. We've got to celebrate life, man. We're breathing, we're walking. It's incredible. It's incredible. Like, it's incredible. My mum met my dad. They had sex. It's amazing. Like, do you know what I'm saying? I'm here. You know what I mean? So, I'm so happy to be alive. So I'm gonna celebrate that tonight. You know what I'm saying?
Her winning Best Original Song made for a movie for the song that she made for Judas and the Black Messiah. Tyler Perry being given a humanitarian Oscar for everything that he's done for the industry. And hey, look, I've had my issues with Tyler Perry, but I am a fan of his success, and I am very proud of him for that. Chloe Zhao being the first minority woman to win the Oscar for Best Director for her film Nomadland. I was very excited for her on that. But of course, some of the things that was horrible during the Oscars was the in memoriam segment. And they didn't even have everybody in there, and they just flew all the names by. I like Stevie Wonder, but the song they played, maybe not the best choice I would have picked for the in memoriam segment. But that whole in memoriam segment was just completely botched. And then Lil Rel coming out on stage, I did like how he did a little callback to Get Out when he spoke to Dane Kaluuya, and he was like, "Hey man, I need you to save me like I did before, remember?" But then he had to go to Glenn Close, and I don't know how true this is, but they were pretty much playing a game where it's like, "Hey, do you recognize this song?" And then Glenn Close, she came out saying,
"Wait a second, I know that's Da Butt." Yeah, it's Da Butt. I know that Da Butt.
"I recognize this song is by Da Butt," and then she started twerking, and I'm like, Glenn Close don't know nothing about no goddamn Da Butt. Cruella DeVille don't know nothing about Da Butt. At that point, I just felt like they were just trying to appeal to the lowest common denominator. And then, of course, we have the Best Actor debacle, in which they aired the award for Best Picture first before they did the nominees for Best Actor or Best Actress. And the only reason, from what I've heard, the reason they did that is just so that they can, because they were so convinced that Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace, was gonna win the Oscar for Best Actor, in which he didn't. That went to Anthony Mackie for The Father, and I have not watched that film yet, but after that win, I'll make an effort to sit down and watch that film. But that was just completely botched because they all thought that Chadwick was gonna win, which he didn't, and so they wanted to save that moment for last so that they can end the night on a good note, and clearly that backfired. As far as who should have won, The Father or Chadwick Boseman, look, while I really would have loved for Chadwick Boseman to win, and again, I have not seen The Father, so I can't really say, but come on now, you really give it to Anthony Mackie over Chadwick Boseman, and who knows? But I am hearing that some people are just like, hey look, if Chadwick Boseman is going to lose to anybody, it's Anthony Mackie, which is fair, but again, I'll make that call whenever I see The Father. But that's it for this episode of Lassiter Factor's Top 5. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, like, comment, share. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'm your host, Bradford Lassiter. Be safe, wash your hands,